Okay, the research is basically there's life extension research going on. It's biomedical research that aims to eliminate disease and aging. So the theory is that when you reach, say, 70 and you need a tune-up, you could receive therapies that would literally reverse your biological age to, say the age of 30 again. So you could maintain that indefinite state of youth. So if those therapies became available, would you accept them?
Well, by the time you're 70,
Yeah.
you're already kind of like you have less strength than you had before. So would you literally become a young person again?
You would, yeah. You would be restoring youthful function, so you would look and feel as you did.
Would you still die at the time you were meant to die?
It's not
Like,
immortality.
No, that's the thing. I mean,
because if you could
literally.
stay young forever and then drop dead at 80, I would love that. But like the idea of like prolonging life past the age of like comfortable existence, I think that's the worst thing that anyone could do.
Right. I mean, what the therapies aim to achieve is literally maintain
Youth.
indefinite
Hell yeah,
youth.
that would be amazing. But then that's got to end at some point, hasn't it?
Well, and not necessarily according to this research. It's like basically medical science is now proposing the idea that you can literally maintain indefinite youth if the therapies actually become effective and they work. And it's a theory just now, and people are working on it. But the idea is that you could literally maintain indefinite youth if you have.
How does this bear a resemblance between the way the technology is advancing?
Sorry.
How does this bear a resemblance, or how does this match up to the way the technology is advancing? Because surely at the rate that the technology is advancing, we are becoming weaker as a person, and is that not something to do with the technology itself that needs to be sorted, as opposed to finding a medical solution for maintaining youth? Because we are becoming like a mechanic, human race, rather than just human race, and I think that's probably where this is coming from, more so than needing the medical therapy.
I mean, the therapies themselves address aging as a disease. So the idea is that as you age, you accumulate damage at the cellular level, and basically in your body accumulates damage. And the damage, your body's set up to tolerate a certain amount of that damage. At which point you will eventually go into you'll go into a disease state. So these technologies basically reverse that damage.
And the environment would be such a manic place; it would be unbearable. You wouldn't want to live here because people would be so aggressive all the time because there's so much energy. Because we're such a negative human race, like we're negative people. We always focus on negative. If we had 70 years worth of youth on top of that, it would be mental. I wouldn't want to live there. You need to have like some quiet and prowess from people who are older and people who've had experience, but have a sense of a value of love perhaps, or compassion, something that young people kind of put away willy-nilly.
Right, so you would prefer that life to be more based on
less ego, more I'll help my neighbour, and I don't think that can be such a thing when you're young, because there's too much energy there, too much opportunity, too much.
I think I get what you mean. Yeah.
It's too much.
The energy's focused in the wrong way.
Yeah.
And there's not enough emphasis on love and care and
instead of
spiritual.
focusing on being young, it's very much young people need to focus on being older as well at the same time. So if everyone just helps everyone out,
You mean more mature?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I think people are just fucking selfish, quite frankly.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And once we get over that fact, okay, we're all selfish and we have got bad traits in all of us, but if we actually focus on the good, then it doesn't really matter how old you are or how young you are, because it's irrelevant.
I think with society today, there's a lot of emphasis on being young and beautiful, and I think if we accepted that human nature just grows old, we grow old and we pass away, and instead of fighting things and just accepted that growing older is a part of life, and then we would enter into that natural process without thinking, oh no, I've got to look like this beautiful person around the corner.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll tell you the guy who's working on this. His name is Aubrey de Grey. Basically, he's a British professor, and he says there's a 50% chance within 25 years or so of having therapies that are effective.
How many years, sorry?
25 years, maybe 20, 25 years. Some people say it's quicker, but he says according to him and his research, there's a 50% chance of having these therapies available to literally anybody who wants
The
them.
problem is with this is that it sees old age as a bad thing.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not.
Well,
It's definitely not a bad thing.
It's not that it's disease that's a bad thing, and you can't have one without the other. So you can't age without at some point becoming sick. So
Young people get sick too.
no, but not today.
In fact,
But what basically what the idea is
anyway,
that
the
you're
emphasis all goes on 20-year-olds and like
It's-
in that area because that's when you're at your peak. So young babies get ill very easily because they're susceptible to bacteria and so
Yeah.
on. Old people are exactly the same, but in a different, exactly the same idea, but in a different way. I don't understand why it's such a big deal for growing old to be such a bad thing. Like I'm actually really interested in this myself, to be honest with you. I've done quite a lot of research myself into it, so
right.
like I've been working like quietly with Selfridges behind the scenes because they're doing a thing about beauty project at the moment, which is looking into age of society and how actually so much emphasis goes on young people, especially with the emphasis of media, and they're using media now to in fact celebrate age and celebrate sagesse, and rather than just like why do we want to hide away from the fact that we are going to get old? It's not a bad thing at all. What's bad is the management of it, because for some reason people get silly and want to make money out of like flipping residential homes and stuff for elderly people, and then it starts to become a sickness because money takes over. But actually, the getting old part itself is a blessing, and we should celebrate it. It's part of life. And
Right.
it's not to
Okay.
be controlled in a sense that we need to medically control it. I think we just embrace it and enjoy it and smile a lot.
Fair enough. So would you accept the therapies then? But
No.
you wouldn't yourself?
I'd love to say, I don't know. I don't know. I have
You don't
no
know?
idea.
Right. Okay.
I'd like
Eh.
to do some research first before
Yeah.
investing any of my sort of intentions into taking.
Well, if you want to do research, then go like there's the guy's name is Aubrey de Grey. He does a lot of YouTube talks.
So I can't.
Aubrey is an
Aubrey,
A. Yeah, Aubrey de Grey, and he's got a big massive beard. This guy, so you can't really miss him. And he gives a lot of talks on YouTube and interviews. So yeah, that is
Very
basically
interesting
it.
subject though, for sure.
Okay, cheers.